Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Christy Don One, and I am back with another video. Trade went down. Eric Bledsoe seems like he had found himself a new home, and it's with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks will be giving up Greg Monroe, a first and a second. Now, let's look at this deal. Are there winners and losers in this deal? I feel like both ball clubs were desperately trying to get rid of these players. All right, the Bucks with Monroe, and to a larger extent, Bledsoe to the Phoenix Suns. Now, with the Phoenix Suns, they always, they had problems and issues with Bledsoe, particularly about what he said on social media about no longer wanting to play for the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns have been pretty much a disaster when you're talking about this team for the past couple of years. Now, there are some bright spots, okay? They traded, they got some good players in the draft, Booker, but when you talk about the coaching staff, the coaching staff was only there for like 5 games, and then they let him go. It's clear and it's obvious that you need to have some shaking up in the front office, as well as finding your next coach. But Eric, some of the onus belongs to him, all right? Particularly on his decision making, basically his issues with the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns let it be known for the past couple of weeks that they are unhappy with him. They suspended him. They banned him from playing alongside the other teammates of the Phoenix Suns, the other players of the Phoenix Suns, in fear of his toxic behavior. They felt like Eric Bledsoe was going to pretty much infiltrate the teams, the players of the Phoenix Suns, and make things even worse for this ball club. So they sent him home, and they've been working him out. But by doing that, they sort of went to the Phil Jackson school on how to screw up on a trade and not get the very best assets. Okay, when Phil Jackson was in charge, president of operation of the New York Knicks, he let it. There was really no secret that he always wanted to get rid of Carmelo Anthony, and the things that he said on social media as well as in the press, basically you're pretty much lessening the value of Carmelo Anthony. If he would have kept it professional, who knows? He would have probably traded. He would have probably got rid of Carmelo Anthony. I don't know why I said Allen Iverson, but Carmelo Anthony, and gotten some better picks for him. All right. They got rid of Phil Jackson, and they still got rid of Carmelo Anthony, and they got some decent picks from Carmelo Anthony. But the damage was already done. Everyone in the New York Knicks, in the NBA organization, NBA league, knew that Carmelo was happy with the Knicks, was unhappy with the Knicks, and the Knicks was unhappy with Carmelo Anthony. So that's the deal that they got. And that's pretty much the same situation with Phoenix and Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe was not too happy with the coaching staff, even though they got rid of the coach. And now they got rid of him. So what does this mean moving forward for the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns? Me personally, it's only going to solidify the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks was already making steps in the right direction of being a powerhouse, somewhat of a juggernaut in the East, particularly with the slow start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Miami Heat is not really blowing things up. And when you're talking about the Boston Celtics, Gordon Hayward is out for the year, and they got a great record, but what does this mean for the rest of the season for the Boston Celtics? So there's clearly a clear path to be the beast of the East. There's really nobody in the East that's tearing the Eastern League by storm, if you want to count the Boston Celtics winning streak. Okay, so what this means for the Milwaukee Bucks is they've been desperately needing a point guard, and now they got their point guard. He's a creator, he's a floor general, and he's pretty decent as far as assists. Me personally, I felt like they should have been in the running for Chris Paul. If they would have gotten Chris Paul to the Milwaukee Bucks, even though Chris Paul is injured right now, I feel like Chris Paul is a better upgrade than Eric Bledsoe. Okay, that's just my opinion. Okay, but still, this deal really makes the Milwaukee Bucks a lot better than they were last week. Okay, what does this mean for the Phoenix Suns? They got Eric Monroe, and they also got Tyson Chandler, which they've been desperately trying to get rid of Tyson Chandler, but nobody wants his contract. They even packaged Tyson Chandler with Eric Bledsoe, hoping that they can do a 2-for-1, get rid of both of these players. But nobody is really have any strong desire or interest for Tyson Chandler. I think his contract is just a little too much for a lot of NBA organizations out there. Okay, so what does this mean for the future of the Phoenix Suns? They're still going to be cellar dwellers. They still are able to get the next. They still should have. They should still be in line for the first pick all the way down to the 10th pick, and that's a good player in next year's NBA draft. And now they got these additional picks from this trade. So now you can possibly get 2 great players in the top 10. Okay, well, not in the top 10, but in the first round. It's clear and it's obvious that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be a real phenomenal team, and they're going to have a great record. So I don't see them that first round pick being a top 5 pick, but it's still a first round pick. When you talk about this year's NBA draft, it's not as deep as drafts in the past, but it's still got some decent players in this particular draft. Okay, so the future of the Phoenix Suns, they're going to be cellar dwellers. They're going to be in rebuilding mode. Chances are they're going to find them a new front office, and then once they get their front office in place, then they're going to have a new direction and a new coach. All right. Now, I feel like also, do not be surprised if one of these big-time coaches accept the gig for the Phoenix Suns. And the only way they're going to be able to get these big-time coaches if they allow these coaches full reign. Not only be the coach, but play a president of operations. Okay, now this really hasn't worked very well for other clubs out there that did this. Okay, when you're talking about the Detroit Pistons, even though they got their coach in place, but still they haven't cracked. They haven't cracked and went deep into the playoffs by having Stan Van Gundy be being coach and player of operations. So that it didn't transpire that way. And I feel like if they want one of these big name coaches, they're going to have to give them a little bit more power. Do not be also surprised if they look in the college realm. Okay, just sort of like what the Oklahoma City Thunder did. Okay, Rick Pitino maybe eyeing a job in the NBA. And if they let him be the coach and let him pick the players and also let him have control, that's probably a great destination for him. Still, all of that hinges on whether or not shoot, I forgot the coach of Kentucky. Sometimes he likes to jump out of a job before things get worse. Or John Calipari, sometimes he jumps out of the job a little early than most. Okay, so John Calipari might be interested in the Phoenix Suns next year if they not only pay him, make him one of the highest paid coaches, but give him more power. And that's pretty much going to be their selling point if they want a great coach. Okay, and I feel like that's the direction the Phoenix Suns are currently thinking about and currently constructed into. Okay, so you already got some like Devin Booker. I think he is going to be phenomenal. Okay, you got some other players that's on the Phoenix Suns roster that could probably do some great things. And then now you got 2 first-round draft picks of this coming up NBA draft, as well as more picks for that particular draft. So if you look at the process of the Phoenix Suns, it might possibly take them 2 or 3 years, and then now they'll start turning things around. Okay, but it all hinges on who is going to be in the office, what type of coach that you're going to pick up, what type of culture he's going to enforce. And if you get one of those superstar type coaches, and like I said, or going to the college realm, Rick Pitino's dying for a job. John Calipari may be interested. Okay, you never know. All right, Mark Jackson could be interested in the Phoenix Suns if it pays well, and if he has somewhat not total control, but control on the destiny of the team. Okay, so Mark Jackson is probably going to be one of those names that may entertain the notion of the Phoenix Suns. Okay, so this trade, if you have to give it a grade, to me, I give this a C+, because see, really, when you think about it, both ball clubs desperately needed this trade. Okay, the Milwaukee Bucks been trying to shop Monroe for the longest. Eric Bledsoe, likewise, not as long as Monroe, but you know, they just simply agreed to disagree, and they just had to move him. And I felt like they would have gotten better pieces for Eric Bledsoe, particularly. And here's another angle a lot of people probably are forgetting about. That's one more player that LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers can't get. Okay, Chris Paul went off the market, and now this player, Eric Bledsoe, has went off the market. Now there have been trade rumors floating around that they were interested in Bledsoe, and they the best package they could give to the Phoenix Suns is a package with Iman Shumpert. Okay, Iman Shumpert is a decent player, but when you look at the Phoenix Suns, they're looking for youth. Okay, he's a little long in the tooth, and when you look at him, I mean, when you look at the Phoenix Suns situation, they're in a youth movement. Okay, they want to stack as many talented young players as they possibly can, sort of like the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, who knows? You might can get Jason Kidd out of the Milwaukee Bucks and sign him to the Phoenix Suns as a head coach, but it's going to require a lot of money on the front end, and you're going to have to give up a lot of power. Okay, that's the only way I can see Jason Kidd leaving the Milwaukee Bucks. Me personally, I don't ever, you know, he's got a better situation with Milwaukee than any other place. If he goes to the Phoenix Suns, he'll be virtually starting over. But when you think about how desperate the Phoenix Suns are, they're willing and able to do anything to get to get coaches. And in this league, it's all about system, coach, players. Okay, not in that same category. You definitely need players, but if you can't get superstar players, look at the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, they've been very successful for the past few years without a big three. Okay, they have an older big three, but that big three is nowhere near what's going on with the Golden State Warriors. Okay, and the Golden State Warriors have pretty much shown the blueprint on drafting the right players. And sometimes drafting the right players can be a good thing, not a bad thing. Now, give me 1 second, and I gotta go grab something. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, that's pretty much it for the trade of Monroe and Bledsoe. Real quick, I'm gonna do a double header here. Meek Mills got sentenced to go to prison, all because he violated his probation on a DUI. What I think about it is, I feel like to me, particularly in the hip-hop game, I'm not no big fan of Meek Mills. I feel like, Meek Mills, to me, isn't one of those top 5, top 10 MCs. However, I'm looking at the situation as a human being, all right? And Meek Mills, I would say, is, you know how young people are. They don't necessarily think. They just simply go with the flow. And sometimes they get caught up in some situations and things like that. Meek Mills is not no spring chicken, all right? He's a little old, all right? And particularly his situations, particularly he's been in and out of jail. And he had this he's been on probation. And when you're dealing with probation and you're dealing with an individual that constantly find themselves on the wrong side of things, eventually it's going to catch up with you, all right? It was like, what, in the summer, Meek Mills and his guys jumped on Safari. I felt like just that incident alone was going to get him in a world of trouble. And the court system, they look at that incident as well as the French Montana incident. And then when he finally screwed himself up with the DUI, now the court system saying, okay, we finally got him. We're going to lock him up. 2 to 4 years is a long time for anybody. I don't care if you're 20. I don't care if you are 25 or 35. Let's just say, for the record, he has to spend 2 years in jail. Still, that's a lot of motherfucking time. All right. So, excuse my French. To me, I felt like, what a waste of talent, man. I mean, his last album, to me, I liked it. Okay, it was there was songs on there that was commercial type songs. All right, commercialized type songs. What I mean by that is radio songs. I liked a lot of his music on his last album, and then he also had some street hitters as well. He was in the works of, and I don't know, it's probably already out, of a mixtape. Okay, which on the mix side of things, I'm not all in the mixtape era or the mixtape movement. I simply just download artists and their albums. Okay, I haven't even downloaded Chris Brown's new album. I heard that one is good, but and then the situation with him and Nicki Minaj, everyone knew from the outside in, we all knew that this relationship wasn't going to last that long anyway. Okay, it was kind of messed up on how it transpired, how it ended, but we all knew that this was not going to work because Meek Mill is like a rebound date. Okay, and generally when you date somebody after coming off of a divorce or a breakup and you start messing around and dating someone else, that's considered a rebound date. And you basically dating that individual to try to forget the other individual that you was fooling around with first. Okay, and she had a lot of time with Safari, and that time plus how they met, I knew this thing wasn't going to last long, and they broke it off. I just felt like after that, Meek Mill was sort of kind of lost. He was like in the moment. He didn't really have any type of direction. With Nicki, she was trying to point him into, hey, look, yeah, it's cool to make it's cool to make the hardcore albums. It's cool to make the street albums. But if you want to really make that big time money, you're going to have to fall in line. And if you want sponsors, you're going to have to fall in line and do other things other than just always doing albums for the streets. Okay, Drake is very successful with that. Nicki is very successful with that. Lil Wayne is very successful with that. Rick Ross is very successful with that. 50 Cent is very successful with that. So I can just name artists, hardcore artists that entertain the pop culture. All right. So to me, Meek Mills, I hate to see him go to jail. I'm pretty sure he's going to fight this, but I don't see how having another trial going to make anything better. Okay, it's just one of those situations. I wish him the best of luck. Keep his head down. Try to not get himself in any more trouble in prison. And when he comes out, if there's an interest for Meek Mills, is going to be there. But typically in hip hop, everybody's got a short attention span. All right, everybody, the artists that you feeling now, they're probably not going to be the same artists you feeling 6 months from now, okay, or a year from now. 2 years in the hip hop game is like 20 years, all right? So that's how it works in hip hop, okay? Man, it's raining like cats and dogs out here. That's pretty much it. Really nothing else to talk about. I covered, Eric Bledsoe and the Monroe trade. All right. I even talked about Meek Mill just for a couple of minutes. And that's pretty much it. Far as me, things are looking great. My gaming channel is about to surpass 50K. Congrats. This channel has already surpassed 100,000 in views. Shout out to all y'all out there. And my new channel is just barely scratching the surface. It's young. I'm putting material on this new channel, but it takes time, particularly with the type of material I'm into. It's not like the gaming channel and this channel where I just cut on a live stream or go into iMovie and make the video there, and then hey, I'm 88 out the gate. A lot of the videos here and on my gaming channel is primarily from driving back and forth from work, and when I'm on a lunch. Okay, so it's one of those types of situations. All right, let me bag this thing up. Bag this thing up. Bag this thing up. So, guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom 1, and I am out.